Gentleman from Alabama.
I yield 4 minutes to the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 4 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks. I rise in opposition to the bill, although I recognize the chairman of the committee's points that this literally is not the appropriation. But I do want to speak out against this whole process of what we're trying to do with the bailout, not only this time, but the time before. And it's a system that has brought this country to its knees. And I think we haven't recognized what the cause has been, and therefore we're not looking at this problem in a proper manner in order to solve the problem. There's a lot of money been involved, a lot of money spent. The appropriations that we've made here in the Congress, as well as the trillions of dollars the Federal Reserve has used to try to bail out the financial industry, and nothing seems to be working. I think it's mainly because we haven't recognized, nor have we admitted, that excessive spending can cause financial problems. Excessive debt can cause some problems. Inflation, that is the creation of new money and credit out of thin air, can cause a lot of problems, and we've been doing it for decades, and it was predictable. This is not a surprise that we got ourselves into a financial mess because of a system that is deeply flawed. And so what do we have? What have we been doing now for the last 6 months to a year? That is, we have been spending more, we have been running up debt like we've never run up before, and we're printing money like we've never have before, and we think that is going to solve the problem that literally has been the cause, and that is too much spending and too much borrowing and too much inflation. But I do want to address the subject more specifically about moral hazard and why the system was so deeply flawed. And that is, when a Federal Reserve System, a central bank, creates easy money, easy credit, and has interest rates lower than they should be, business people do the wrong things. They make mistakes. It's called malinvestment, and we've been doing it for a long time. It causes financial bubbles, and they have to be corrected. Actually, the recession is therapy for all the mistakes, but the mistakes come basically from a Federal Reserve System that's causing too many people to make mistakes. It causes savers to make mistakes. Interest rates are lower than they should be, so they don't save. In capitalism, capital comes from savings, but for decades now, capital comes from the printing press, and nobody has saved. And that contributes to what we call moral hazard, as well as the system of the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac system. It always had a line of credit, never had to use it, but the assumption was if we ever got into any trouble, the Treasury would be there and the Federal Reserve would back them up. And that existed for a long time, causing specifically the housing bubble to develop. Then we subsidize the insurance. The government subsidized insurance program further promotes the principle of moral hazard, people doing things and spending money, investing in the incorrect way. Then, with the assumption that we're all going to be bailed out, which we're endorsing that by bailing everybody out, people say, well, no sweat, because if there is a mistake, the government will come to our rescue. That's part of the system of the FDIC. Now, nobody can conceive of the notion that we could live without an FDIC. But the truth is, a private FDIC would never permit this massive malinvestment. There would be regulations done in the marketplace, and there would not be this distortion that we end up with. So the whole principle, and this bill actually makes it permanent, that the insurance will be $250,000 per depositor. Now, you say on the short run, that's pretty good, because that, conveys confidence to the system, because at least we know that our deposits are secure. But this is true. This is true. It helps on the short run. And then generally, this is the way we work here. We always say on the short run, this is going to be a benefit. On the short run, the bailout will help. On the short run, we do this. But on the long run, actually, it's a great deal of harm that's done. And matter of fact, today, the long run is here.
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator.